Welcome to today's workshop. Today we're going to focus on the macro picture of crypto. Probably the biggest bull market to date. Bigger than 2017, bigger than 2021, and we're going to look at why. But to really understand the why, we're going to need to look at the technicals as well as the fundamentals. Now, the technicals tell us the price psychology and the buying and selling behavior of fear and greed. So it's literally applied social science, applied psychology. I'm just going to touch on that in a second. And then we're going to look at Web 1, Web 2, Web 3. And Web 3 is what we're moving into, and Web 2 is where we currently are. So I'm just going to pull up a market cap chart. Now, you might have seen my YouTube content the other day, and I know some of you commented. I said some of you said it was my best to date. So I appreciate the kind words. So what we want to look at when we're looking at this is since 2017 and the recent price behavior. And you know what I always go on about, right? It's buying and selling behavior, fear and greed. And what's happened over this period is we had a phenomenal bull market, right? But what most people don't realize, especially if you're new, what it felt like over here, back in November 2021, is what it felt like in pretty much November 2017, right? Before the big correction. And these markets moving these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And it's typical crowd psychology. And when we see this kind of buying behavior, short, medium, and long term, and this is the macro, typically you'll get a correction. Now, this has been a deep correction, the 78.6%. So what I'm saying today in the workshop is really how to prepare. Now, the first part is what's the likelihood of it actually occurring, right? What's the likelihood? Because some people might just go, nah, they don't want to put that much money into crypto, where we've got this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, almost a $3 trillion market cap. And now it's less than $1 trillion, right? What is it right now? It's like $800 billion market cap. It's like, GK, you're saying that it's probably going to get to 5 trillion over the coming years? You know, what's the likelihood of that happening? That means institutions are going to get involved, and hedge funds and the big boys and countries and treasuries and whatever else. That's a serious amount of money. That's like 50% of what gold is valued at right now. So that's why we're going to dive into the tech stack, into the fundamentals, right? So the technology. So Web3 economy, right? This is going to be so important for you to understand. It's going to put you leaps and bounds ahead of everyone else. So let's just go over this. So what is Web3? Okay, let's just go back a second. I'm going to loop back and forth on this. When the internet first took off, no one could really, or the masses could not really vision what the world was going to look like today. Like, you know, having a phone that has a TV in it, practically, right? You might be watching this on your phone, which is like a TV, all the technology. But a couple of decades ago, you just couldn't see it. So Web3 economy is blockchain, it's crypto, it's NFTs, it's the metaverse, and it's a new technology that enables things that's never been possible before in all of human history. And it's ownership without a middleman. And it uses smart contracts, decentralized finance, and decentralized storage. But the tech isn't there yet. The mass adoption isn't there yet. The simplification isn't there yet. Now, since 2017 to now, there's been a massive improvement. Like if you was around in 2017, if you thought it was hard today, back then it was even harder. So Web 1, right? It's static images. It's read only. Now, believe it or not, it was actually decentralized, but it was very, very basic. But then the market grew, especially in 2006 when broadband took off and everything moved to a whole different level. And that's when we went to these platforms. But you could now not only read, you could also write. So there was an interaction for the first time. And no one knew what the use cases were going to be. But now, like I'm planning to go to my sister's house after this. So I got to finish on time today. I got to finish bang on 12. I'm gonna call it Uber. And I'm gonna select, you know, the one that lets me take my dog. So we're gonna go to my sister's house. But that's ordering a taxi through Web 2, right? But the problem with Web 2 is the power is in the centralized parties with data and everything else. And it means we, as the data providers, we don't get the ownership. So Web 3 is now moving into decentralization. And the technology has begun since 2009. That's the official, when Bitcoin first had it produced its first block in January 2009, the technology is moving into ownership. So I'm just going to touch upon that. So Web3, the information economy. So Web1, static, read-only, the information economy. Web2 is like the platform economy, like social media. Like it's been an absolute revolution where people are watching more social media than actually actual TV. Whereas a few decades ago, that wasn't the case. But where we're moving is the ownership economy. And remember, the reason I'm telling you this, and the reason we're going over this today, is the market capitalization. What technology is going to be required? Well, what is blockchain? Well, Ethereum is a blockchain. Well, that means if they're going to use that technology, then that holds value, both from a speculation standpoint, but also from a utility standpoint. So Web 1, read. This is really, really important. Web 1, read only. Like our eyes there. We cannot import. Web 2, we can read and write. So, we can post on social media, we can write a blog, we can upload a video. This will go onto YouTube later on. We can interact. But Web 3, for the first time in all of human history, we can own. We go, get our own stuff ready. Yes, but it requires a centralized party, right? You need a bank, an intermediary right now. Your insurance, your assets, your house, everything. There's a middleman always involved. Here, for the first time, there's no middleman. That's a big change. That's probably one of the biggest global shifts in all of human history. And 99, maybe 98% now of the human race has no idea on what's happening under the radar. So Web 1, think about it. Web 1, when it's static, you have a username and password, which is similar today. But now we got email and we got platforms that makes it easier for us to interact with Web 2. But what is Web 3? Well, when there's blockchain, you need something called a wallet. So Web 3, Ethereum has its wallet. You have other blockchains like Solana, like Binance Chain. We've got Avalanche, we've got Polygon. There's quite a few different blockchains, just the same way we had quite a few different search options. We've got Google, Yahoo, there's Bing, there's quite a few back in the day as well. So Web 3 is now really using, it's just new. The hardest part is it's new. It's different. It's not that we're not going to be able to do the same things, but the technology behind what allows us to do the thing is more efficient. There's more transparency. There's more trust because we trust in the code, which cannot be, it's immutable. We can't change it. We can't tamper with it. It's very, very secure. So remember why we're looking at this. It's like, why is there going to be trillions of dollars over the coming years pouring into this space? Which means when people pour money in, price goes up, right? It's the supply and demand. So let's just talk about utility, right? So we're working on a Web3 project right now ourselves. I'm going to give you a practical use case in terms of NFTs, but where are NFTs built? I'm not going to go into too much detail on what NFTs are. That's not the purpose here. I just want to open your eyes up to what's actually happening under the radar. And then the next 3 years, 5 years, 10 years is going to become a commonplace. Just the way email back in the mid-90s was like, what is email? And now it's a commonplace. You'll be a weirdo if you don't have an email account. That's just the nature of it, right? So one of the use cases is, in terms of tokens, blockchain, and ownership, is NFTs, something called non-fungible tokens. And there's many use cases. Like the internet has many use cases. And in the early days, people thought it would just be used for reading, maybe streaming something like the radio, I don't know, email only. But now the whole world has revolutionized. We stream our media through the internet itself. One of the use cases, and we're actually working on this ourselves, is token-gated access, and it's going to be the future. And I'm gonna do some future stuff on this. So a case study. So how did you get on today's Zoom call, right? Well, you use Web 2, right? You clicked on the link, you're registered, you put in your email, done, right? That's Web 2. Easy, simple interaction. But now we're going to move into Web 3. And what would Web 3 look like, and this is happening, and we're actually working on this ourselves, is rather than you putting in your name and email, I may only want people in this particular workshop that have purchased one of my NFTs. And that tells me it's unique, and I want you to give special privileges. So what you'll need to do is connect your wallet. Now, if you're new to the blockchain, don't worry about it. I've got some other training that I'll point you to at a later date. But I'm going to be talking a lot about this because I just realized people are not seeing it yet. People are not seeing it. So you'll connect your wallet. And in your wallet, if you have the NFT, and by the way, this is the ownership. You own the NFT. And I'm going to show you the significance of owning the NFT versus just logging in with name and email. If the NFT is in what's called your crypto wallet, which connects with the blockchain, let's call it Ethereum, the software will read if you have that NFT. And if you do, fantastic. So it look like this. I've just put an image of myself. These are some of the designs we're working on. It's not finalized. This is one of the old designs actually. But let's just say you had the NFT in your wallet. It has a smart contract associated with it. So the smart contract is pre-coded. It can never be changed once it's launched, but that contract will be fulfilled and delivered. And it sits on a blockchain. So different blockchains, Ethereum is the most popular, Solana is another one. And these are two, by the way, I'm choosing these two. We've got long orders in the done for you service on both Solana and Ethereum. So I know the price has been volatile, but we want to see, is there underlying value there that people are going to have a reason to buy it in the future, near future as well, days, weeks, months, and years. So in terms of the utility, I just want to kind of get your head thinking about where engineers are working on this in terms of blockchain, Web3. People are coming up with new utility. So let's say you've got the NFT. If you have it in your wallet, this will show up. Join the meeting, pop in your name. So one of the things that I'm going to be doing is one-to-ones, right? I want to give more value, especially when we hit the bull market, because one of the most requested things from me is one-to-one time, right? But if you got this NFT, you'll get my one-to-one time. But it's like, what if someone else connects the wallet that hasn't got the NFT? Then what would happen? Well, then something like this will pop up and say, look, you're not authorized to access this meeting. You need to go buy the NFT. And if it's not on the marketplace, then you just can't access it. But what does that mean? Well, if you own the NFT and someone else wants it, well, there's supply and demand, but you own it. I don't own it. You own it, which means you can then sell it on the secondary market. So now you'll see that there's this new economy being created where the power is in the individual, which has never been the case before. We've always needed the centralized party because these interactions are actually happening without someone in the middle. It's just pure code, which is the smart contract, which is the blockchain. So again, I'm just going to reiterate just to make sure we keep the main thing. We're talking about the market potentially at some point. We don't know exactly when, but we believe at some point is going to end up doing something like this. Like, well, why would money pour in to crypto, blockchain, NFTs, Ethereum, Solana, Bitcoin? Well, I'm giving you the reasons that it's pretty much a done deal. The technology is so advanced now, it's pretty much a done deal. But then you go, okay, what else can I do with these NFTs? Well, let's just look at this for a second, right? So NFTs can have different utilities. Some are just digital art, right? It's literally just art where we go, you have this image, people have, I don't know, it could be a one-of-one piece of art and people want that art for whichever reason. But because of the smart contracts, because of the blockchain, we can bake in different types of utility, and the only limitation is your imagination, right? So it could be, so this is some of the stuff that we're working on, access to our done for you service, but lifetime. So if you got this NFT, you get lifetime access. Access to courses. So you log into our platform, and people that have certain NFTs will get gated community. The gate will open to allow them to view certain content. And if you haven't got the NFT, then you can't view the content, right? So rather than just email and login, but what it means is the person now owns the course. And once they're done with the course, they might say, I want to sell this NFT because now someone else might want this course. And it might be just limited to like 100 people. Monthly one-to-ones. So the NFT may have an access level, a utility, which is a monthly one-to-one with me or a one-to-one in whichever way. And people can use that. Art and collectible, right? So now this is how I want you to think. Because an NFT could be just like Bitcoin in the sense that it goes up in value and it goes down in value depending on the perceived value. So right now, our YouTube channel is just under 20,000 subscribers. But imagine in the near future, it was 2 million. And the amount of content we're producing in the bull market, we're probably going to hit 100,000. But let's say it hit 2 million. What would that tell you about people wanting to access my content, which is gated and limited supply, and even my one-to-one time? Well, if it's supply and demand, well, when people want to buy something, then the price goes up. If there's more people that want to buy a house in a bull market, the price of the house goes up. So what would happen with the price of the NFT? Will it go up? This means the owner of the NFT could go, you know what? I don't want to sell this NFT, but the price is now so high, I need to consider it. So what would it be worth on a secondary market? So you can actually list it on a secondary market, which is the equivalent of an eBay, but for NFTs, and sell. It might be double the price that you bought it. It might be 10 times the price that you bought it. So why am I telling you this? Well, the reason is blockchain, Web3, cryptocurrency, the underlying technology that's going to revolutionize the world more than the internet itself, right? More than the internet itself. That most people haven't seen. Now, in 3 years, it'll become much more common. In 5 years, it'll be like an email address. Maybe 5 to 10 years, an email address. Everyone's going to have one, and big brands are going to be using this technology much more. So now, if we just go back again to the market capitalization, because what we're talking about is Elliott wave, Fibonacci price, Fibonacci time, momentum strategies, momentum, double time frame momentum. But what are we really measuring? Well, what we're really measuring is crowd psychology, applied crowd psychology, human nature, which goes back centuries, not just crypto. Gold was the same. The tulip mania was the same. The dot-com boom was the same. It was as volatile as this in the early days. So this is why it's highly probable at some point very soon, some point in the coming months, definitely, I'd say definitely, very, very close to definitely, next 12, 18 months, we're probably going to hit a low. I think we're near the low just based on the current pattern position. But if we get the follow through, the tech is there to support it. The stories are there to support it. The use cases are there to support it. It's going to be a new version of Netflix, a new version of Zoom, a decentralized version of Amazon. There's going to be people just trialing and testing things. Like with any business, many are going to fail. That's just the nature of it. But when there's something that's 10 times better, people tend to adopt it. When it's more than 10 times better, it's cheaper, it's faster, it's more transparent, you got more control, you can get ownership and so on and so forth. All of a sudden, the game changes. But what the world doesn't know yet is that the game, the foundation for the game changes is already in place. So it's almost like it's happening. It's like the tree has been planted, the soil is just guaranteed to be like A-star, unless there's like a black swan event, which is, 1 in a trillion kind of thing. It's a done deal. So when I say the next bull market, again, we're trading, the current trend. So we're long on Ethereum, we're long on Solana in terms of we've got orders in for the done for you service. So we're going to, the markets are going to move up and down, right? They're going to move up and down, and that's fine. That's fine. But today was really about opening your eyes and see, can you see what is likely to happen and what's going to drive the price? The last thing I'm going to finish on before I open up the floor is going, and then I'm going to talk a lot more about the Web3 project. Most of my team don't even know about it because my job as a visionary of the company is R&D, work in the back end. And once we see stuff that we can add more value to our community and make a bigger difference to you, the way we do things and being in line with the tech and what we believe, it's just going to be an absolute game changer. And we're very excited about it. So I've got some big announcements coming. So today was just a little flavor as well. The last thing I wanted to finish on before I open up the floor, and do ask me on this because sometimes, I'll make more sense when I see where you're at when you ask me. So news and the feeling of a market, often a wave 2 from a psychological perspective is worse than a wave 1, even though the price is higher. And this is a macro wave 2 in terms of crypto, right? Because we got like mini wave 2s within these waves, but a macro, we've had this gone from like $10 billion market cap to almost $3 trillion. That's like 30,000% growth. That's 300x from down here to down here, up here in what, 4 years? In 4 years. And now we've gone through a big correction. The news, the fear, the uncertainty, the doubt, the depression, the losses and everything else. And the feeling is often worse at wave 2 than at the beginning of wave 1. And that often sets the floor. It almost sets it like a launch pad, like literally like a rocket about to take off. And we want to be ready for that. Now, we will have some technical indicators like, an overbalance of price and then a pullback. That will be very positive, and then a follow through and everything else. And we'll use that technical to make as much money as we can from the markets, but in a logical, mechanical way where we can really treat it like a business. So there you have it. There you have it. Now you know what pretty much 98% of the world does not know. That's important to know because sometimes it's important to know that no one else really knows this. Like you've talked to your neighbor about an NFT or crypto or blockchain, they kind of go, yeah, what is that thing? If you heard of Bitcoin, oh yeah, I've heard of Bitcoin, ain't got a clue what it is. Even one of my mentors, right, old school guy, right, I learned a decent amount from him, even though he does some analysis on Bitcoin because of me, because I was going on about it so much. He kind of talks negatively about it. He's like, I don't know what it is, it's almost like there's nothing in Bitcoin. Don't know what it is, but people are speculating on it and so on and so forth. So the world has not seen what you have seen today, which gives you an edge and it gives you confidence, and it should give you confidence. And you may have a trading strategy, but you might have a long-term hodling strategy as well. And sometimes just knowing that inside information gives you a bit more peace of mind to go, it's pretty inevitable. When the technology is that good, when it's like 10,000 times cheaper to do things. Like banks are using blockchain technology because they can cut out like 50 steps, 1,000 steps that are legacy systems, and they can put it all onto the blockchain, which is faster, cheaper, more transparent. And there's different types of blockchain, both public and private. And then they're saving $20 billion just by going, right, we don't need these 50 steps. Now we can just put it directly on the blockchain. The supply chain, there's lots of use cases, and there's lots of NFT use cases as well. Let me just give you a few others. Do you have a passport? The thing that lets you travel, right? In the future, that's probably going to be an NFT. That's right. It's going to be an NFT. Do you have a driver license? Yeah, that's probably going to be an NFT. Do you have house insurance? Yeah. Well, that's probably going to be an NFT in the future. Yeah. Do you have a house, land, property? Yeah. You're probably going to have an NFT that shows that you own that land. And guess what? Let's just say this is happening already. There's technology that's doing this today. It's going to blow your mind in terms of use cases. You can mortgage a house. Let's say you got an NFT that represents your house, and the value of the house is $1 million, and you've got a 60% mortgage, which means you got 400,000 equity, right? And there's something called an Oracle, like Chainlink. Chainlink's a project, an Oracle that will verify that information and make it NFT. And the NFT on the smart contract says the house is worth $1 million. There's 400,000 in equity. You can then put that NFT as a token into a dApp. Let's say it's like MakerDAO or a version of MakerDAO, where you can stake it and take out a loan. And what would normally take maybe 6 weeks, 3 months to remortgage your house will take 5 minutes because of NFT, because of blockchain, because of crypto. So when I say 10,000 times cheaper, faster, more transparent, think about how long it may take you to remortgage your house. You got to get the valuations in. You got to maybe get 2 valuations, and then you got to go to the bank. You got to get this, you got to get that. You got to get the legals in. You got to double check this and double check that. And then you got to do this with the inland revenue in the UK. And before you know it, you spent £3,000, £5,000 just to get the damn thing, valued. And then you got to put it on the market. And then you got to go back to your bank and say this and that. And they'll have all different criteria. Whereas with the NFT, there's no middleman. It's pure code, pure blockchain, which means literally, just imagine this. Literally, you got an NFT that's verified. Let's say you got 400,000 and you want to take a 50% loan against the equity. You literally go stake, click yes. How much you want? I'll take 50% loan to value, 200,000 in USDT, let's just say. Boom. And now you can go do what you want with your money. How cool is that? That is why we are probably going to get the biggest bull run, biggest market just movement to the upside, because once the world starts seeing it, once companies start seeing it, well, what blockchain they're going to use? They're going to use Ethereum. What Oracle they're going to use? They're probably going to use Chainlink. If they're doing decentralized cloud storage, right now it's all centralized, AWS and whatever else. Well, there's like Filecoin, there's Arweave, they're decentralized. And if there's other reasons for having ownership that's better for the individual, well, if it's 10 times better, they're gonna move over. Why do I use Uber rather than my local taxi service? Well, it's more convenient. So I can just go click and says, right, do you want this one, or the one that says, yeah, you can bring a pet? I'll go, that one, please. Right, it's gonna be here in 5 minutes. I'll go, great. I now use Uber. Why? It's because it's more convenient. Like, let me give you another example. When I walk out to the top of my road, I used to have a hairdresser's that's like 15 minutes walking that way. But now there's one 3-minute walk that way. And as much as I love the one that's 15 minutes away, I go, convenience is the new loyalty. So I go, the 3-minute one is so much more convenient. haircut is a haircut. So it's pretty much the same thing, roughly the same price. So I'm going for my convenience. So hopefully I'm getting across. And I would like your questions so I can make sure I am getting it across that the global shift is probably going to be one of the biggest in all of human history. And we are at the very forefront of it all. And if we have technical abilities, technical analysis abilities, we can read the market and the prices are going to move based on speculation. 90%, 95%, 99% maybe even is going to be pure speculation. But that's what most stocks are anyway. If you think about it, like why does the price of Tesla or Google go up and down and up and up and then and up, up, up? Well, it's speculation. Like the people buying and selling the thing itself. So there you have it. That's my 2 pence worth on why we're going to have the biggest bull run to date. I think it's the closest thing as a done deal. I can't say 100%, but I can say 99.9%. And if we took, like I said in my YouTube content, I said, if we take time out of the equation, like if we didn't have to put a date on it to say when is it happening, and we just said, let's just put that to the side, and it's more of a, is it going to happen as opposed to when? Well, the is like 99.9%, which means $5 trillion, $10 trillion market cap for the whole of the crypto space. And then the big players will obviously be a bigger part of that as well. So there you have it. Now I'm going to hand it over to you guys. I'm going to keep it in this format. I'll just keep my screen shared. I'm gonna go back to the first screen. I'm gonna get your guys' help, by the way. If any of you have worked on an NFT project, are into design, if you want to get involved, they've helped me design the NFTs. There's a few different things that I'm working on. So I'm gonna bring up the Q&A and then we're gonna go over it. Eliana, thank you for confirming it's 10 p.m. in Australia. So you guys are 1 hour now. It's 1 hour. The other week it was around 2. It was 2 hours difference because in the UK the clock just went back. All right, so let me just see what questions you guys have. Hey Jagir, good to see you live. Good to see you as well, Chetan. So we got MN. Hi Jagir. Will Valas be affected going forward as it is a fork of Solana? Now this is a technical analysis question. So in fact, I'm going to come back to that. Let me come back to that in just a second. Let me just quickly see if there's any related questions. And then I'm going to go into all your TA questions. Fabulous, fabulous. All right. So I'm just reading these, seeing if there's any... All right, perfect. Now I'm just going to go in order. So any questions you got, put them in the Q&A box, and I'll do my best. We've got around 30 minutes, and I'll answer all your questions or until the time runs out. So Ahmed has asked, hi Jagir, when do you see the bottom for Bitcoin coming in? So I'm going to do the Valas question and then I will do in the Bitcoin question. So let's go Valas first. Now, I really like Valas, right? I really like it. It's a fork of Solana, but it's EVM compatible. Sponsors, I think, well, they were the sponsors. I don't know if they still are, of Formula One. I think it was Ferrari, which is great. But right now, like 2 cents, Jesus. Like I remember it was 20 cents and 14 cents felt like it was cheap. Like, look at this. Yeah, and just remember this, right? Just remember with any crypto, when Bitcoin has retraced 78.6% or even more, everything else is going to retrace more, right? More often than not. More often than not. So just be aware of that. And then short-term price action doesn't actually reflect the project. It's just panic selling. It's crowd psychology. So Valas is number 284. Volume just under 1 million. Market cap 60 million. But it was more just a macro picture. Will what's happening with Solana affect Valas? I don't think so. Like, I think most of the damage with Valas has been done in terms of price, because I remember I was looking to buy some more at around 14 cents, but I said I'm just going to wait for Bitcoin to bottom out. And now it's like really flat. It's just made another low. So let's just zoom into Valas of the recent price action. And by the way, I think Solana is going to recover. I think Solana is going to recover because it's one of the most popular blockchains. It's just crowd psychology. So what I'll do with Valas, what I'd suggest you do, is if you look at this, looks like a nice A, B, C structure, might be coming towards an end of a trend. You could do something called an external retracement, and you'll get the ranges of 1.272 and 1.618. And if you're buying Valas, like what I would do is I would wait for it to go above a swing high and get something called an overbalance of price in a 5-wave structure, and then look to go long. So that would be my take on Valas. Now let's look at Bitcoin. So let's just pull up. Have I got it open? I might have it open already. No, I don't have it open. Let's just open up a chart on Bitcoin. Let's go here. All right, so let's do a quick update. I'll sip my coffee once it's loading. It's funny, when I'm doing live Zooms, the Wi-Fi is always slower, even though I've got the Ethernet cable plugged in. Feels like the 90s. Waiting for it to load. Jeez. All right, so this is the last video I did, right? The CPI, and then let's just have a look. Is it daily chart? Yep. All right, so where's the likely bottom for Bitcoin? So what's interesting with the CPI, if we look at it, if I just pull it down this way, this was the CPI announcement, Consumer Price Index, and you'll find reversals tend to happen. And we did get a very positive reaction in a sense, a big up bar. But the day before we had a down bar, right? We had a big down day and then a big up day. Now I don't talk much about candlestick patterns. I just find they can be very useful. But one of the ones that I used to really pay attention to was something called tram tracks. Well, that was the name I knew it by. And tram tracks was basically when, if I just pull this up like this, when you have two bars that are almost equal in size, they're roughly the same here, and it looks like two tram tracks, right? And that's a big, strong reversal sign. So I'm looking for long trades with Bitcoin. So this might have bottomed out already, but let's just look at it from a momentum perspective. I think the weekly momentum is bearish, or at least overbought, but the daily is bullish. So let's just do high level. Let's just do one thing to answer your question. When will it bottom out or likely bottom out? It may have bottomed out, right? It may, but again, too early to say because of this external retracement. Because you got to remember, if you saw my content about Bitcoin, and I said, look, this looks corrective, overlapping waves. What typically happens when you get overlapping waves? Well, the previous low tends to get exceeded. And then we got this, and then we're like, oh, we're not sure if we're going to get it. And then we got this, and we're like, okay, we're not sure if we're going to get it. And then we got this, and we're like, okay, we're not sure if we're going to get it. But then we broke it, right? Eventually we broke it. So now we're in that range of saying, okay, it might have made it as low. But what I would like to see to get confidence is the high over here gets exceeded, because you can see this high didn't get exceeded. This high didn't get exceeded. So we'd like to see, ideally in a 5-wave structure like that, and then a pullback, and then that will give us confidence that this is likely to hold, especially if this follow through gets a follow through as well. So hopefully that answers your question in regards to Bitcoin there. Venkat, hi Gear, love what value you actually bring to the community. Great work. Thank you, Venkat. Appreciate it. Can you please do TA on Dogecoin and VeChain, please? So I'll do Dogecoin first, and I'll see if I've got time for VeChain. I'll loop back to it. So let's just do Doge. Let's just have a high level. Where is it now? Doge is number 8, 12 billion market cap, 1.8 billion in volume, which is pretty decent. Let's just have a quick look. So we really want to ask the question, what does the recent price surge over here, does it look like anything from a technical perspective? Can we get any clues on what's likely to occur next based on this? So if I just pull this up and go here, in fact, you know what? I think I got time. I think I got a Dogecoin video. No video. Do I have one? I think, let me just look at this very quickly. What I wanted to just quickly do was have a take on the double time frame momentum, because that gives me a clue. Because sometimes, when you get like two potential wave counts, the momentum can give you a clue what it's more likely to be. And then you can lean on that until the momentum says otherwise. Let's just load up. And by the way, as we're waiting for it to load up, let me know in the chat what you found most valuable around the workshop itself in terms of Web3. Was there anything new that you learned that you didn't know before? And is there anything that you would like me to do some content around in terms of on YouTube to dive maybe a bit deeper on some of the blockchain stuff? Because I think it does make a big difference when you know what's happening from a technology standpoint as well. All right, so let's just go into the weekly chart first. The thing that stands out to me is obviously we had a big correction. We pegged this, by the way. Did anyone see my content when I did a video around here? And the reason was one of my friends saw this happen, right? And he was looking to buy a ton more. He had almost 100 grams worth of Doge. And he was like, "Yeah, we should double down. We're going to make a lot more money." And I was like, "Dude, did you not just see my Dogecoin video saying we got this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's topping out, mate. You need to take profits. We're probably going to get like a 50 to 78.6% correction." And then it happened. But what I want to pay attention to here, by the way, is can you spot the divergence? Is it bullish? Is it bearish? What do you see? Well, let me tell you what I see is we got this price has made a higher high, but the momentum here is lower. The crossover is lower. That's what you call a bearish divergence. That's down and that's up. That's a sign of weakness. So that doesn't necessarily mean that this low is going to get taken out, but the macro trend is down. Bearish reversal, top, bearish divergence. So I would be on high alert that I would only consider from a macro perspective, sideways to down. But the immediate trend, like if I just zoom out, let me just get context. Yeah. Because I was going to do a video on Dogecoin, but then I decided not to. Well, we've clearly had a move up, right? We don't need to get too anal about the wave count. We've had a move up, which has been quite aggressive to the upside. And then we've had a big correction, which currently potentially looks like an ABC correction. We don't know. And I would denote this as, if I can grab this, does it let me? Oh, hold it. I would denote this as, I'm trying to get the text feature. Sometimes it's hidden on my side when I'm doing videos. Here we go. I would denote this as a 1 or A. Why? Because it could be either. 2 or B. And then 3 or C. And what this does for us, it means you could actually trade it long, but 3, did I say 3? Yeah, 3 or C, 3 or C. Yeah, this means you could actually trade it long based on the immediate momentum. The immediate momentum is a strong bullish reversal. We've got something called a jaw lookback bullish reversal. But we want to be on high alert that it might not be a wave C, it might actually be a wave 3. So the two scenarios that may play out is this could be an A, B, C over 4 and then a continuation. Or it might be that is a 1, 2 and then a 3, 4, 5. So you got two options. The way I would do this, let's just say you're very bullish on Dogecoin right now. I would, again, this movement, we can go 1 or A on a more micro scale, 2 or B on a micro scale, and then allow it go up. What would confirm, and you could wait for this, what would confirm that it's not a wave 3? Right? Have a think. From an Elliott wave rules perspective, what would give you confidence that this is not a wave 3 and indeed a wave C and this low is likely to hold? Well, if you're shouting at the computer, an overlap into wave A, then that is the correct answer. In other words, what should wave 4s not do? Well, they should not go into the closing range of wave 1. Right, that's 1 or A, wave 1. So if this price goes above this point here, this invalidates that is a wave 3. That will give confidence. And a thing you could wait for is, and it might take a few weeks, is then wait for the pullback. Wait for the pullback and then go long. So that's my take on Dogecoin. Let's now go. I'll come back to VeChain. They got their anonymous attendee. I don't know if you just don't put your name in. Does it come up as anonymous? I'm gathering you don't type in anonymous, right? It says, "Hey Jagir, I'm wondering, like, what if the time TT took for an intermediate wave 1, 2, and 2, 3 is way bigger on a bigger picture for Bitcoin or ETH or for overall market cap. So now my question is, what would be the probable time it will take for a wave 5 correction to complete and to start a new macro wave 3? Sorry, man, the question is too complex. You need to simplify the question for me. We're going to have to analyze again. Where's this person asking me? Wonder, I'm not sure what you mean by TT. Yeah, if you wouldn't mind, just simplify the question into a sentence, and then just ask me in a sentence. That will be, and I will answer it. Just if you wouldn't mind. Henry has asked, "Hello, I hope you are doing great." I am, Henry. Thank you very much for asking. Can you please consider that some of us are not in the done for you, so please indicate the entry price of your entries. Also, kindly do a TA on KDA and Atom. Now, with that, I try not to, because in terms of giving signals and stuff, I found it incredibly difficult. Not on my side, just on the individual side, because the skill levels are so different and people are managing their positions very different. People are understanding the information very different. Their risk management is different. Time frames are different. So I just simply cannot, because I think people are just going to make mistakes and lose money. So that's why I try not to, and I try and keep it generic, because generic in the sense of this is the bottom. Now use your knowledge from the courses to take the trade, because you might want to enter on an hourly chart, on a 15-minute chart, on a daily chart, on a weekly chart, and each one, there's no right or wrong. It's just different trade plans for each individual and risk tolerance. So that's why there might be some stuff. I'm working on some stuff in the future. Let me show you this actually. I'll show you now actually. I think I got it here. And then I'll go into KDA. Have I got it open? Do I have it open? I think I got it open. Yeah, let me get it here. Do I have it here? Is it this one? No, not this one. Do I have it open? Let me just double check if I've got it open. Here we go. We do have it open. All right, so this is a Solana long that we're looking to take, right? So I'll tell you why we're looking to go long on Solana, right? And there's some tools I'm working on for myself, for the done for you product service, so I can take on more trades, see things faster, and so on and so forth. And I'll be talking more about this, because we did some phenomenal work, not only on Web3, but just tools that we're building. But with Solana, I'm going to keep it in this format. So with Solana, the weekly momentum is actually still bullish. We've actually got a new dashboard that we're working on. I told you about this, I think, a couple of weeks ago. And it just tells us the higher degree time frame trend. It tells us the weekly is a bull uptrend in terms of the blue lines above the red. And the daily is also bullish, blue line above the red. And I got this thing called a star reversal filter. And it basically just tells me that it's a double look back filter. It just tells me it's a stronger reversal. So then when I look at this, if I just go into the full screen with Solana, we've also got a price signal on the chart itself. We've been working incredibly hard. I want to give that shout out to William. He's been working with me very closely to develop some of this stuff. He's doing a fantastic job. And this is, the dashboard is on version 3, 1.3. And this is the first version of the signals, which complements the dashboard. And it's to help identify when a reversal happens, and is it strong, and should you consider buying. So it's a buy signal, or is a consider buying signal. So Solana, for instance, has done a bullish reversal. That's what that represents. It's double time frame, which means it's in the direction of the higher degree trend. And this little plus represents it's a strong reversal because of an extra filter that I've put on. So then I want to consider long trades. Now with Solana, what we've done is I've put in an order for a 1 bar high of yesterday's close, and the stop loss is below the swing low. And again, I'm trading this on the daily chart. It's a relatively wide stop, but it's still risking only 2%. And my anticipation for the trade as a minimum is it might just end up being an ABC correction of some sort. So 50%. So we're looking to get risk free if it does that as a minimum. But if it takes off, if it like really takes off, what we're looking at, because we've got a big, Solana's been doing some fantastic patterns, right? But if we just look at this and we see this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it looks like an A, B, C down here, potentially, like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of a C, potentially. We don't know yet. But what we do is we know that we don't know, and we just go long. But the reason I'm telling you this is I'm kind of killing two birds with one stone. Watch out for the tools. We're looking to do some special things with this. But really, I designed these tools for myself because the Done For You is one of my most special projects that I've ever done in my life, where for the first time, we've got the regulation and licenses to really manage your money. And we want to bring immense value. And we're going to be linking some Web3 stuff with that as well. We haven't fully announced most of this stuff yet because we've been working hard in the background. But the reason I was saying this is that I'm not giving these signals just flippantly and just shouting about it here and there. Is people miss them, people understand them, people don't understand them, people misunderstand them, people take action blindly, and it causes problems. So that hopefully that was a roundabout way of answering your question. But watch out for, we've got some special things happening with the dashboard. Let me just show you some things with the dashboard actually. I'll show it to you like this because it will show you like this. I'm going to double click on this dashboard, right? And what it does, it actually lets me choose the higher degree time frame, the lower degree time frame, and it gives valuable information. But more importantly, it lets me choose any asset. So let's say I want in the dashboard for all of these coins. I'll say, actually, I want Dogecoin, XRP, Bitcoin, Ethereum, ADA, etc. You can see it populating, right? You see it populating, right? So then it tells me which one of these is, and I've written it in a way in terms of the instructions. So the action, we're going to probably change this to say, what to do next. We're working on the next iteration, is what you should consider. Here it says only consider long trades. However, for this one, for Dogecoin right now, because we know the weekly bearish and the daily is bullish, what we just saw. And because of that, you can see that here. It says the weekly is bearish. You can see that. And the daily is bullish. And it says stand aside, right? That's because ideally you just want both trends to point in the same direction. Or you could consider going to an hourly chart and doing a shorter term time frame. And then the star filter is just, I'm probably going to change that to just say the word strong. There's a strong reversal. So this is some of the stuff that we're working on. And while we're going to get, we're doing quite well. We're at 16% up now in the version 2 of the PAM or the Done For You service. This month we're up, I think it's 5%. Last month we hit just over 10%, I think it was. But there's the next phase, there's the technology that we're working on, the tools, the dashboards, the automation, the human element, what the human can only do, which is me, and then what machines can do, which is all mathematical. We can really leverage the markets, which is what we're getting ready for over the coming weeks and months. Anyway, that's a slight tangent. All right, let me just bring back up the Q&A. Okay, so I'm gonna loop back to KDA and Atom. Henry, I haven't forgotten you. I'm just gonna go through some of the others first. Hi, Jagir, Solana and Matic and Loon C buying zones, please. We've covered Solana. So hopefully that answers your question. And then I'll loop back for Matic, and then we'll see if we've got time for Luna Classic. If you wouldn't mind, if you put in any more questions, just put one question per box, and then I can sign them off. It's a bit more fluid. Dice has asked, even though we want to buy Bitcoin at lower prices, someone said, if Bitcoin goes below 10K, confidence in the market would be lost and the bear market in Bitcoin would last for many years. What is your take on this? I don't watch the news, and there's a reason why I don't watch the news, because I found if I ignore the news, I make more money. If I start listening to other people and I start second guessing Elliott Wave and Fibonacci price action and don't believe that is already baked into the price and the buying and selling behavior, I start making less money. So I just did this. I literally did this. Other than maybe big news announcements and whatnot in terms of CPI and non-farm payroll, etc. It's going to be baked in, but we can short the market, right? So we're looking to trade. I'm looking to trade the market. So to be quite frank, I don't quite care what it does. I don't care if it's up or down. we'll make money on the way down, and we'll make money on the way up. It's going to do what it's going to do. Our job as trading the market is to read and go, right, based on this buying and selling behavior right now, this is what's likely to occur next. Okay, we believe this is going to happen, but now this has happened. It voids the wave count, and therefore now it's more likely this is going to happen, and we're going to bet in that direction. And we're going to take short trades, we're going to take long trades. So that's my personal take. Chris N., would you consider setting up a service for people who want to day trade and be more active on a lower time frame? What kind of service are you thinking of, Chris? Feel free to DM me. I'm always trying to listen. What do you want? What do you need? It's one of the reasons we launched the Done For You service. My honesty is, like, with my team, I was like, guys, I think our courses are fantastic, but I don't know if people are going to make money. I don't know if people are going to commit the time that it takes to learn Elliott Wave, double time frame, momentum, price, and everything else. If they do, I think they're going to make a lot of money over the coming years, months and years. But if they don't, and I don't know if it's going to work out for them, because it does take work, right? Everything is difficult before it's easy. So then my next thought was, what if I could trade for them? What if I could trade for them? Can I put something together? Can we do it legally? Can we do it and structure it? And that's when I did my R&D, and that gave birth to the Done For You service. So Chris, when you say consider setting up a service for people who want to day trade, you can be a bit more explicit on exactly what you mean, but feel free to message me. Like you're talking about, well, I'm on the call with you. Are you talking about signals? Are you talking about, so just you feel free to elaborate. Right now, I'm going to loop back to questions. I've got 6 minutes. It's my nephew's birthday party. He's 6. We were 6 on, I think it was Friday, but his party's today. So I've got to make sure I get there in time. So Venkat, I'm going to loop back to TA on VeChain. So let's now just do a quick fire round. I'll do my best to get through all the remaining questions. Whilst it's loading, let me just quickly look at the chats. Hi, Jigger. I've got NFT-based access to other platforms already. It's much easier. I know it's phenomenal, right? That was Amit. For the content creator, what would be the benefit if you're foregoing the recurring income? Well, you can sell the NFT, right? The more value the NFT, it will have a value. You have to buy it on OpenSea. Cost required to support the delivery. How would creators be incentivized to keep creating? Exactly. You can also bake in a royalty to NFTs, by the way. NFT, so let's just say the person resells the NFT, 10% baked in. You can sell like 1,000 of them, or 10,000 of them, or 1,000 of them. Would creators get paid by tax each year? Sales tokens? Yeah, you have to individually look after your tax. That was a slight tangent. We are looking at VeChain. Let me stay focused. VeChain. Is that not is that the ticker symbol? What's VeChain's ticker symbol? Yeah, is that? Okay. Don't know why my nephew, who's 24, I think, loves VeChain. Like, he's just, as it's going further down, he's just buying more. That's just this is a side note. All right, VeChain is a supply chain project. It's a blockchain. So we got correction, ABC, move down. This is an overlap. So I would see this as, we got to compare. I compare this to this. Do they look like they're on the same degree or a lower degree? Well, to me, it looks like a lower degree. Very, very much is much smaller than the previous one. So why I say that it's important is it a part of like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 style structure? Probably not that, because of the way it is structured. But I would treat this as we might be coming towards the end, right? If Bitcoin is near its end and it starts taking off, projects like VeChain will just explode, right? But there's no real technicals other than we've got a very deep correction beyond 78.6 just from visually looking at it. But we're at a typical zone, and we can just see we're sideways, which means the market's undecided, and the bulls and the bears are almost equal in weight. All right, so that's VeChain. All right, let's mark that off. Henry, let's do Atom, Henry. Let's do Atom, and then we'll see if we've got time for your last one as well. Atom. It's weird. I think it's case sensitive now, is it? It is. All right. Fair play. All right. Atom. Cosmos. Let's have a look. Well, what did my video say? I said $6, right? So my analysis is pretty bang on with this, right? Yeah, I was so bang on with this. I only looked at this because one of you guys asked me a few months ago. And what we said was, what did we say? Let me have a quick look. Yeah, it looks like a. Yeah, it's a bit of a weird structure with yeah, I was really focusing on it as potential 1, 2, 3, and we said this 4. We pegged it very nicely, but look at this. It looks like it's going to continue down. So it's looking like what we said. I did a video on it. It might be worthwhile going back and watching my YouTube content on Atom because it looks like it's unfolding exactly as we said. Um, this high, we've got a big overbalance of price. We've got to move up. This low has been exceeded for at least one more leg down. So it's looking bearish. Yeah. So I'm laughing because I remember sometimes I realize people don't watch my full videos. They just read the thumbnail. And in the video, I was very precise on exactly what I think was going to happen. And it seems to be unfolding exactly that way. All right. So that was Atom. All right, let's just have a look. The Rock. What settings do you use for stochastics RSI? It's a good question. Let's just bring one up. So with my main 2 settings, these are Fibonacci numbers. I just find they work really well for most markets. Is stochastic length 8, RSI length 5, D3, K3. Don't ask me what each of these means exactly. I kind of go blue line, red line. It marries up with the highs and the lows. And then the other most common one, second most, is 13, 8, 5, 5. Which one of the 2 do I use? Well, more common is the 8. But you just want to look at really which gives you the most useful information, which is marrying up with the lows the best. And that's the one that you go for. All right, I'm going to quick fire. Okay, we got that done. Henry has asked, will we be glad to get day trade signals and pay for them? Yeah, well, yeah, I'm happy to explore. So I would love to learn a bit more about exactly what you're looking for and what you'd find useful and to see if me and my team can service that because ultimately our vision is to make a difference to you. And ultimately, right now, we're focused on financial health. So it means make money. All right, Venkat has asked, can you please explain why our chart settings is 3358 and 55813 looks different than your charts in the crypto gym, and how do we need to look at the momentum from hourly, daily, and weekly? Well, I think I covered that in the course, and I got a few videos on it as well. Ignore this indicator down here. This one here, if that's what you're referring to, I've actually just hidden the red line, so it actually looks like that. But I've just hidden it because I'm using it for something different. But yeah, the Dogecoin is taking off, guys. Don't FOMO in, but look, it's going up. Doesn't mean Solana is going to be pumping as well. All right, Henry. Hello, I hope you do. Yep, we said that one is KDA. So we'll have a quick look at KDA. I think I have just about enough time to do a quick one. We've just hit 12, but I'll do this one and then I'll select one, last one. KDA. We did a few videos on this, but when the market just crashes and goes, pretty down, it just really affects these lower caps, should I say, 125, 193 million market cap. And KDA, yeah, there's no real technicals, right? Look at it. It's just flat. This is really flat. If you look at this, if you zoomed in, they look like big movements, but it's really flat. So you could wait for a breakout, wait for it to break out, similar to XRP did, and then wait for a pullback, and that will give you more confidence. Or just hodl if you're just holding the underlying token, because in a bull market, projects like KDA are probably gonna do well. Can't say for sure, but probably. I think I've only got this. Have a look. Amit says, thanks for another great session. You are welcome, Amit. And let's finish on. We'll finish on Lunar Classic. I know that tends to be quite popular, right? We'll do it on here. I'll do a fast one on Lunar Classic. Lunar Classic. All right, I think it's this one. Let's go. All right. So the weekly momentum is still, well, it's oversold. We got a bullish daily reversal. And let's just look on the daily chart. Let's just pull this up. I'm just going to hide the info for a second. I just want to have a quick glance. Yeah, so it looks like probably going to hit a reversal. Again, what you want to keep in mind is knowing that you don't need to be right, just risk manage in acceptable capital exposure. So every time, if you think, this might be the low, and you've got the bullish reversal, have your entry point, whether it's on a 1 bar high, a swing high, and then have your stop loss down here. But yeah, this might, now it's got a bullish reversal and the momentum's in line with the weekly because the weekly is oversold. We are likely to get a follow through. And if we just quickly go to an hourly chart, I'm just going to drop down to an hourly. We'll finish on this. Just want to look at the recent price data. It's a bit noisy. Lunar Classic is quite volatile. I was just going to look at it as in, it's not the cleanest of move up, but it looks quite corrective on the way down. So if we go above this high and above this high, we're probably going to get a follow through to the upside. And we want to be aware of that as well. So there you have it, guys. Thank you for your time today. So Web3, pay attention, keep studying. NFTs, blockchain, cryptocurrency. The mass adoption hasn't even happened yet, but the biggest bull run is more than likely to come in the months and years ahead. The next Bitcoin halving is 2025. I think it's 2025. And the bull run tends to begin around a year. The year before? The year before? I need to remind myself. But what the market conditions are looking like now, it looks like we're going to get a surge before then. And if we do get that, there's going to be a lot of opportunity. But even if we don't, there's still going to be a lot of opportunity on the short side as well. So guys, have a phenomenal weekend. Enjoy yourselves. I'm going to go make my way to this birthday party. I'll see you soon.